Is it live? Am I alive? Hello, good morning. Little bit of a situation. I'm streaming on YouTube, so I'm not sure if you can hear me or if I'm too loud. It's a completely different system. The breaking news is here in the UK that there is some kind of issue with, I don't want to ham it up, but there is some kind of issue with a lot of different platforms. And I was unable to get into our restream situation, into our platform. So Jim was he was quick off the mark, and he's managed to get me onto YouTube. So good morning, and welcome to the SHAC. Safe, happy, and creative. Little bit of a scramble. Not sure what's going on in the world. Wow. It is all bonkers, let's face it. But there may be some of you who can find me. I'm not seeing a chat or any kind of facility here. It all looks very different to what it usually does, I'm afraid. So I can't talk to you, and I don't know. Maybe Jim will be able to come in and sort that out. Jim just speaking to me now. Just bear with me 1 second, would you? Oh, this is, you know, when you think, just bear with me 1 second. What do you want, Jim? Okay, we are live. It's official. So let me just get in here. Paul says sound is good. It's business as usual. It's just not on Facebook today because we couldn't get on Restream. But I can see this is interesting because many of you do watch on YouTube. So it'd be interesting to see how many of you actually find us. Nice to have your company. This will be an opportunity to see if the chat, etc., also works on YouTube. I feel anyway that there is a gradual migration to YouTube away from Facebook. I've watched the numbers moving, you know, and primarily most people used to watch the SHAC on Facebook and less people used to watch on YouTube, but it seems to me that it's moving over. So let's see, just as a little experiment, let's see if we can actually generate a chat interaction in the SHAC on YouTube as we do on Facebook. It would be fascinating to know if that works. Never waste a crisis. Okay, now while we're on the subject, Paul quickly called, while Jim and I were working on this, Paul quickly called Janice, who was already 30 miles down the motorway coming to the 2 o'clock show today at Clarity TV. Now, she'd already heard on the news that there were issues with lots of the different internet platforms. So, we've rescheduled her show because it's a long way to come if we can't maximize on her show for her. Okay, so Janice sends her love. She's done a U-turn and she's going back up the road, and we will reschedule for her. Good idea, eh? That's okay. Everything's fine. It's fine. Okay, I can see that lots of people are finding us, which is good. And Paul says sound is good, and he's posted a message on Facebook and a link to YouTube. So hopefully that will work for our friends. Well, that was a hectic 20 minutes, I can tell you. And I only kind of realized that there was something wrong when I wanted to plug everything in, got the lights on, and then the camera, and then I couldn't stream in. So not to worry. Nice to be back in the SHAC, says Ken. The chat is tiny, and I don't want to press any buttons in case I I spoil it. I don't want to spoil the connection. So I'm looking, but I'm afraid I can't read it very well. Not to worry. And I didn't have time to boil the kettle properly, so I've got peppermint tea as well. It's great. You have to go with the flow. And that's really quite funny because it's exactly what the SHAC is about, isn't it? About rolling with the punches. I can see Marion ist auch da aus Deutschland. Marion, es gibt Probleme on Facebook und andere Sendungen. Deswegen sind wir hier. Maybe Marion always joins us on YouTube. Who knows? I wonder why many people are migrating to YouTube now. Is it because you can watch it on your smart televisions? I wonder why. I know my mum watches it on Facebook, on YouTube. She doesn't do Facebook. But I know my mum watches it on YouTube because she can watch it on the TV, see? Richard Gray, how are you doing? I hope that you and Lisa are feeling better. Right, so nice to have your company. It is persisting outside, absolutely teeming down. Yeah, so it's nice. This is crafting weather. Yeah, look on the bright side. Always looking on the bright side. Perfect crafting weather. And so I thought we could have a look at our Hopi Indians because we're still on that trail, on that little golden trail, which is lovely. And I was happily drawing my little Hopi Kachinas. And then all of a sudden, reality slapped me in the face. It is comical, isn't it? Now, what was I going to tell you? Yeah, so the Hopi Indians. If we start doing a little bit of doodling, then we can chat as we go. Otherwise, we're still going to be drawing these at Christmas. And I'd really like to be getting on to something Christmassy, wouldn't you? Yeah, crafting weather, tipping down with rain. When do the clocks go back? Is it next week? I don't know. It must be coming up soon. Then it gets darker as well. I was in my pottery studio down underneath here yesterday for a few hours, and it was tipping down with rain outside, and I was just defragging because we'd had a really busy day on the Saturday. It was very successful. I think it was very well received. I did an online alcohol ink on gel printing plate course, and loads of people rocked up. It was very successful. I think it went well from my point of view. Jazz and I had a great time. And but it's really knackering. And so yesterday I just needed to kind of defrag, shut down a few windows, and I went and did a bit of pottery downstairs. And it was tipping down outside, and it was really, I felt really safe and protected with a roof over my head, doing clay out of my head and getting with my hands. You know, it felt good. It felt really good. And it wasn't even important that I made something spectacular. It was just important that I made something, you know. Welcome to the SHAC. And so this morning, I thought we'd have a look. Let's see if we can, oh yeah, I need to go up a little bit. Let's bring you in a little bit closer so you can see what I'm up to. So you'll know that we're working on our beautiful Kachinas. I've drawn loads of them. Drew these when I was in the States with Sam. So there are loads of these lovely dancers because we ran into them, remember, in Gallup. So what we did was we used that rubber, the frisket, which we also used in a craft along last Thursday, if you have time to look back at that. It's the liquid masking fluid. Here it is. Let me show you. So you could see it. This was the stuff that we used. Oh, my arm. Oh, I just done my arm again. Right. Watercolor mediums. So we colored in the area and then we did watercolor over the top. Here's the one that we did last week with brushes. So I put ink in with, but the girl, this one, was protected by frisket, and then I reintroduced the image ready to be colored in. Now this is what I wanted to show you here. this is quite interesting because you think that, well, hang on a minute, she'd already done all this, the background. How did she manage to eliminate the background? Well, I didn't. This is another tip that I want to give you is, of course, if you've got images, see, I drew her on a piece of paper and then I cut her out, you see? So, cool, listen to that rain, listen. Can you hear it? I hope the cats are in. And so the whole idea is, you see, that you can cut. Let me just get my better glasses on because I wanted to show you what a simple way this is as well for introducing images over the top, for example, of an existing landscape. And then you can colour them in. So you're going to kind of cut on the outside of the line. The little detail bits like that, I'm just cutting off, and I'll reintroduce them after I've glued the main body into place. This is a good little trick. What am I using? Copy paper, because it's easy to cut out. That's the other important, for me, it's about using copy paper. And don't worry if there's a little white edge. It's better to have the line art existing than not. So it's better to have a little white, almost like a little white frame all the way around, because with thin copy paper, really, when we drop a shadow on there, you're not going to see it anyway. So I've cut the bird off as well because it's easier to redraw it. Right, you see? So that's how, but what I've got is, which is important, I've got the bits that I still want to redraw, which gives this piece character. I've got that there as well. So I could put them together now on there. I could add her to this picture. All right, so that's the other thing, is once you've got loads of these, they're like little stickers, aren't they? I could pop one on there like so. So I wanted to show you how that works, and then of course the question is, how do you attach it? So we'll do that as well. We'll attach it, then we'll add a little bit. We're going to have 3 lucky numbers, 3. Okay, so then I need just a piece of scrap paper. Let me just take a piece of black so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to use and so this could be my gluing piece. I always use the same, let's say. Okay, and I'm using perga glue. If I were to do this with a Pritt stick, the arms are quite delicate and they might tear. So this is why I opted for this. There are loads of different ways to go, but you know, I thought that this probably made better sense. So I'm just going to squeeze out a little bit of this perga glue. Right, you want to kind of get enough, but not flood it, right? So we'll just add a little bit like that down the body. And then I'm going to smooth it out in a minute with my finger. I'm going to use my finger to make sure it hits the edges. Right, so I've got everything I want. It's easy, this. And then once it's dry, see, it'll be really easy to colour in. And we're colouring in on paper, which is always nice, which is easier than, for example, on watercolour. So that's something to consider too. Now, let's have a look. So if you wanted to put her on there, right, even though it's a different medium, let's do that so you can see. Let's do that and then you can understand what I mean. So now I'm just moving the glue with my finger just so that it doesn't, all right, that'll do. Pop that over there. So I've got choices now. I can pop her there, or let's just test something. Look, in the name of R&D, even though she's different to the watercolor, let's see if it works, because I can't see why it wouldn't. Even though she's just copy paper, by the time we've colored her in, I bet she'll blend in nicely. See, and then we've got that. And now it's time to ink up. So you understand how we manage with these two. Yeah, which is great. There you go. We've got 110 people watching, and I don't usually focus on that because the important people are here. You know, it's not a competition of how many people I can get to watch. But what is interesting is that 110 people have found us on YouTube, and that's worth noting. You know, Lillian's found us. I can see that. Jill Wilding, Nahid, wonderful. It would be great if this is a little bit of interactive experimenting here as well. I would really appreciate it if you would let us know in the chat here. This is the question. I usually watch on YouTube or Facebook. Where do you usually watch? Let us know. While we're having a nationwide crisis about this, it'd be really good to know, where do you usually watch? And then why? I usually watch on YouTube because. I usually watch on Facebook because. Let me know. It'd be really interesting for us to know that. You know, we're doing you know what, I've got to tell you this as well. So you never stop learning, do you? I don't. I never stop learning. I'm always learning. And 4 of us at work are actually doing a diploma in digital marketing. I know. We started in September, and we're working on this together, 4 of us from work. And obviously I'm the old one. And it's about digital marketing because it's the way it's going, you know, and it's just an 18-month course. Be interesting to see. I'm already enjoying it. It's giving me a lot of awareness. It's making me look at the business differently. And, you know, the future is in digital marketing. The future is AI. The future is. And so for me, rather than be full of fear around AI, when I say I'm embracing it, I'm fearless around it. And I want to know how it works. I can't be afraid of something. If I'm informed, I want to be informed. I want to know how it works and what it can do. Whether or not I use it is a different ballgame, but I need to know. And since there are 4 of us involved, it's really great for team building as well, you know. I'm really glad we're doing it. Took a bit of paperwork, but we're there now. And yeah, more will be revealed. More will be revealed. I got my first load of homework. We got set tasks. And that was interesting. And I really felt invigorated after I'd done my tasks. I've done my homework, friends, ready to submit. I just want to tidy it up a little bit when I get a chance this evening. And then I'm going to submit it. Got till the 28th, apparently. So that's the first module, if you like. Yeah, going back to school, doing an apprenticeship. Interesting. But the thing is that it's making me look at the business in a different way. And let's face it, everything is moving so fast at the moment. So rather than dig my heels in and say, this is how we've always done it and this is how we're going to do it, it's like, nah, it don't work like that. You know, I think Darwin said it is not the strongest nor the most intelligent of the species that will survive, but the one most adaptable to change. And that's why we're doing this, because I think we need to embrace this new technology and not be afraid of it. And knowledge is power. It always has been. Education, education, education. Right, so let's have a look. What I've done now is I've got this one that I drew into the picture, covered up and then reintroduced. This one, drew it on a piece of copy paper, cut it out, stuck it on with you know what. All right, cool. And then this one, I've just done it again. And because I was careful as I cut it out, right, I also can look at different, makes a big difference. She looks a little bit sad like that. So let's have a look. I'm going to use a 005 on this because, and I've got a bit of scrap. that I'm using. So I'm going to reintroduce, before we do any colouring, I'm going to reintroduce the, see, where I've cut little bits off, that's fine. I can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to just pop my, I mean, I could put anything here. I can draw anything into this picture. I could put hearts, I could put diamonds, I could do what I like. But I'm just going to stick to the original design. See? So now we're making her interested. So her ears, I cut off the black line. That's all right. Reintroduce. Right, ink. Let's have a look. Everything all right, Paul? Could you give us a little update on what's happening? Is Jim having any luck? It'd be interesting for our friends at home to know as well if there's any progress on all the other platforms. See, this is the downside of not watching the news. I didn't know that all this was going on. So I'll tell you what we did this morning. Okay, this is cool. Got up early, 6 o'clock. You're going to think I'm crazy, but I don't think I am. Dave and I get up, we sit by the Aga, we have our cup of tea, and we do a meditation together. Yep. Well, there's a, oh, that bird looks funny. I give it a tail as well. Hilarious. Rule number 1, don't take yourself so seriously. I learnt that one a long time ago. Yeah, we do a meditation together. There's a really marvelous, it's free. And we go to the end, then we go back to the beginning again. It's Deepak Chopra. You must have heard of him. Deepak Chopra, 21-day meditation. And it's all about abundance. And it's on, we find it on Spotify. Yeah. But have a look, you find it online. Just go, when Google's back up, if it is up, that would be the place to go. Paul says it's going great. Lots of platforms having issues, banks, etc. too. Well, there you go. Aren't we lucky that Jim was thinking on his feet this morning? I'm glad about that. Yeah, so again, 6 o'clock in the morning, picture the scene, sitting in by the Aga in my dressing gown. Dave makes me a lovely cup of, every morning, it's the best drink of the day. He makes it in the evening. It's that ritual again, you know. Ginger, fresh root ginger with lemon, freshly squeezed lemon, that's the last thing, and honey. I know, it's a treat. It's a real treat. And so at 6 in the morning, we get together at the Aga and we drink our first drink of the day, and then we do this meditation for 20 minutes. What a wonderful, and you know, and this is interesting because in between the two chairs, the Aga's there and the two chairs, we sit opposite each other. Dave's sitting on the new chair, and we've got this like sheepskin rug that the cat always sits on by the Aga. They know, don't they? And sure enough, every morning, talk about creatures of habit. I don't know whether we're the creatures of habit or they're the creatures. It's so interesting. As soon as we begin our meditation, one of the cats, it's usually Eric, he comes and curls up in between us two. Isn't that lovely? And then the other cat goes and sits on the chair and watches us with our eyes closed. Well, I've got one eye open because I'm looking for the cats. Yeah, meditation and me, you know, I think it's switching this off is not easy for Barbara. I try, you know, but usually when I'm doing a meditation, I'm just behind my eyelids. You know, when they say, and now picture a lake and the mountains and and in your breathing. And I'm like, if I'm looking at a lake, it's right behind my eyelids. It's not miles away. But I'm sure that if I keep going with this 21 days. Go back to the beginning, 21 days. We were on day 18 this morning. This isn't the first time, but I get to 21, then we go back to 1 again. Sanskrit mantras. It was a funny one today. But I tell you what, getting up and starting your day like that sets you in really good stead for when the proverbial hits the fan, like an hour, 2 hours later, when I come bouncing up here to hang out with my friends, and there's a blinking UK breakdown on all the different systems. And, I rang Paul. I said, I think we've got a situation, Paul. But I didn't get uptight. It's just like living in the solution. Now we know there's a problem. Now we need to figure out what to do about it. Yeah. Rather than drop me custard, throw me muesli out the car. Okay, come on. It's interesting, isn't it? And once again, I say, right, these 4 things. It's never the event, but how you respond to it that will ultimately affect you. For me, what was more important was to get hold of Janice quickly so that she didn't come all the way down here and then find out that by that time maybe YouTube's gone down as well, So I'm glad that Paul got hold of her quickly, and I shall call her as soon as we finish our colouring and drawing here. There we go. Oh yeah, she got that there. I'll have to colour that in. I should have probably cut that bit out, but whoever. In the big picture, this isn't a big thing, is it? And if there is anywhere where I feel I've gone a little bit thin on the line art, just add a bit. God, she's got a neck, hasn't she? Like a giraffe. Oh, blimey. This is the other thing. And, I really, look at that bird. That is bloody funny. That reminds me of when we first got together in the shack and we were doing birds on a wire. This one is up there with those first birds, I tell you. Looks like it's got a crash helmet on. Look at this. Oh, bloody hell. Right, this one will be better. Let's see. Oh no, it's his uncle. Here we go. And up. Yeah, a little bit better. Oh, well. I tell you what, all the time you're doing this stuff, you're not thinking about all the other stuff. There we are. It's amazing how art can calm you down, It really is. And we've been figuring this out for years and years, haven't we? As a team, as a group. Right, let's have a look. See, so now I'm just using 005, so it's not so thick, and I'm just reintroducing the lines before I colour in. There you go. Yeah. We've all heard about art therapy, and many, many, many times I've heard people say, you good people say to me, clarity should be a prescription on the NHS, I know it works. I know for myself, I know that crafting And getting out of your head and getting with your hands works every time. And the other thing is this community, right? There's a lot to be said for being part of a community like this. You know, whether you doodle along with me and take advantage of that, or you just hang out together and keep each other company, or a little bit of both. I think a lot of you do both. You doodle, you learn. Do you remember Pat Hosking? Do you remember? She was amazing. She used to come in and chat away, and then she'd spend the whole afternoon, her daughter Sarah told me, just practicing and drawing and reinforcing what we'd done in the morning, you know. So it's great that there is that possibility for, you know, you can use the SHAC in whichever way works for you, you know. And I just get the feeling that the reason we started it in 2020 was obviously because of the pandemic, because of COVID, and that's okay, you know. The reason may have changed now, but I think the need is still here. It's just a different need now. The reason is here, you know. It's just different. It's not a pandemic this time. It's just a general global some kind of weird malaise. I feel it, and I'm sure I'm not alone. And so to get together in a community, one of the brilliant things as well about, if I may say this is like Monday morning in the SHAC is like it's like a home group. You know, if you're a member of a group, and it's a home group though, so you go it's like any community. It could be church, it could be anything. This is a home group, and you don't have to actually leave the house to go there. That's good, right? You don't actually have to be local to go there. That's good, right? Positives of the internet. You could be anywhere in the world, you know, provided you set your alarm. There you are. It's meditation. Now, the thing is though, if you let's just keep drawing while I'm saying this. If you go to the group again and again, every Monday, right? Actually, I've got to concentrate. Every Monday, people are aware. You're familiar. You've got a group of friends, right? Every Monday. I know. Every Monday, Lillian will be there, Jill will be there, Pat will be there, you know, Ken will be there, etc., etc. Naheed, you know your people, you know your tribe, right? And every Monday at 10 o'clock, I can look and go, yeah, there's Lisa, there's Jane Telford's in the room. There you go, Richard Gray, Naheed, Jane. Always the same people, Myra, la. Home group. See, if people just dip in sporadically and they don't speak, then I can't be aware of them. If you come every Monday, like Ken, by way of example, Ken is a perfect example. Every Monday, good morning, Barb. Good morning, Ken. Right? Every Monday. Then suddenly, Ken's not there, and you think, and I notice immediately. It's like, oh, hello, what's happened to Ken? So I get on the phone afterwards because we're friends. You all right, Ken? Everything okay at home? What's up? And that's the power of a home group. To be part of a community, even if you're, you know, and that's also one of the reasons when I say comments, leave a message. It's not for algorithms. I'm not that shallow, right? It's not about that. You know, I'll get more comments, get to the top. Do you actually think that I give a monkeys about that? What it's about is I see the community building, and I see who's there. And when they're not there, I see that too. And so do your friends. So do your tribe. Oh, so, and that's my little, Lillian says, it's so important to me. You are important to me. Now, so we've got 2 now. I'm going into mass production here, right? And I'll tell you another thing. It's never too late to make it your home group. If you, and let's call it that, you know, the SHAC is your home group on a Monday morning at 10 o'clock. If you rock up every Monday and you interact with the rest of the team, you will very quickly be part of that family. It won't take long. They're not that exclusive, this lot, you guys. You know, if a newcomer wants to come in, right? They're not going to say, oh no, you don't belong in this. That is the polar opposite of what we are about in the SHAC. Okay? So be sure that you can use this. That's the operative word. You can use the SHAC. You can use the SHAC to learn how to doodle, how to hang out with friends, how to look for company, and how to establish what I'm going to call a home group. Yeah? How else are you going to do that if you're pinned to your house? Yeah? It's the same if you go to Eileen Godwin, say she does workshops and she does them every Saturday. Yeah, and you can pop in, and then you don't pop in. You go every Saturday, and then suddenly you don't go. Ooh, wonder what's happened. Yeah, it's the same thing, but on a much bigger scale, because it's virtual. And therefore, I'm really grateful to Jim, actually, that he was quick off the mark to move us all over to a different platform while the other platform is struggling. Yeah, it'll come back round. This too shall pass. You know, don't be worried about it. Don't be fearful of it. Just hunker down, do some nice artwork, do a bit of ironing, go back to, you don't have to go in the woods and start hewing trees and making sticks and chairs. I'm not saying that, but always just, you've got to use what you've got. And if we haven't got Facebook at the moment and we can't log into the bank, well, then don't do that. Do what you need to do with all the other skill sets that you've got. And God, have we got a lot as makers. You know, we're so lucky as crafters. We are so lucky that we are creative people. Everybody here is a creative. You know, we're very skilled in all different ways. Yeah. Dave showed me a really cool one yesterday. Or the day before. We've got apples on the trees, like loads of apples. Last year, we were in the States at Mark's wedding. And so we missed all the apples were on the floor and gone by the time we got home. This year, loads of apples. I've got apple. So Dave said he's going to make apple puree. My mum said, I'm going to make apple puree and I'm going to freeze it. See? German. 88 years old. I gave her a big bag of apples. She's going to freeze it. Sheila gave her a big bag of apples. She told me as well, I'm going to freeze it. I thought, oh, I didn't know you could freeze puree because I'm a city girl. So I said, okay. So I said to Dave, go and get a load of apples off the tree. We'll peel them, you know, make apple mousse, and then we'll freeze it. Then I ran off in a different direction, did an online course, left Dave with all the apples. Came home, and he had a big mug, like a big mug like that, like one of the big mugs. And there was a little freezer bag inside and hanging over the edge. I thought, what's that all about? And he said, well, that's how I fill the bags of apple mousse with the right portion. So rather than trying to hold a bag and scoop it in and get it all over the place, I put it in the cup, hang it over the edge, and then I spoon in 4 or 5 spoons, and that's a perfect portion. Put it in the freezer, little bag, takes no space. I thought, what a clever idea. So yesterday I was talking to Mum, and I said, oh, she said, oh, I'm going to deal with all those apples today. I'm going to peel them. I'm going to make, and she puts them in jelly and then freezes it. I said, well, Dave's had a good idea. Rather than put it in jelly, Mum, and I told her about the mug trick with the Ziploc bag. And there you go, 88 years old, she said, that is a very good idea. I'm going to do that. See? So Mum had to work that one out. I said, how'd you know that trick, Dave? He said, oh, I remember it from when my mum was alive. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. He said, yeah, she used to do that with her jams. So there you go. Now we know. Right. Colouring. Should we do a little bit of colouring? I've got all my colours ready to go. And I want to do a little bit of shading first. So, got the colour in the background, and we've got our greys. I'm going to go with a few different greys. Okay. Should we do that? Polychromos. Light, medium, dark. I'll go with that boring beige. Remember we always used to call it boring beige. Warm grey too. Everybody happy? Everything okay? Sorry, I've got to just check. I'm just relieved that Janice has turned around and not come all the way for nothing. Right, come on. So what we'll do is we'll pretend the source of light is coming this way. I already started a little bit on the one that I stuck down, see? Just to add a little bit of shadow, see? So now I can go in here, and I'm just going around the outside, on this side. So if the light's coming from here, then the shadow is going to be on that side of her, see? And in there on her neck. Well, it's got a little bit going on there as well. So I like using drop shadows, don't you? Carol Pankstello. Is Carol P in the room? For me, she's the master of drop shadows. Her work is always... I did, in the 100 Days to Christmas, I posted some artwork this morning using some stencils, and it was Carol's, so identifiable as Carol's as well. She's so good at drop shadows. You should go and have a look. That's a watercolor one. You should go and have a look on, immediately. I put it in top slot as well on there. She's very, very good at that. I've known Carol for a long time. And she's usually in the SHAC. She's usually there. There we go. So I'm using the darker colour now. See, and the thing is that you can also, because she's got quite a lot of different layers on, hasn't she? Like layer on layer. That was one of the things that when Sam and I were in the States and we watched the Hopi Indians, that was one of the things, is they wore so many different layers. They must have been sweating bullets. So we're going to create the illusion of layers with the shadows, you see. So I'm just going in now. See, you may not even add any colour, but let's get the shadows in to get the dimension first. That's a good thing. Okay. One of the things I love about doing pottery, like now, I'd made a couple of things yesterday. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing that goes through my head is, oh, I must remember to smooth out that clay before it sets. I hope it isn't too dry. I hope I covered it up well so that it hasn't gone and set, because it does dry quite quickly. We've got a little heater in the garage. Not massively, but otherwise it gets too damp in there, and it's not nice to work in there when it's that cold either. As it gets colder now, Dave's working on a solution for me, which is rather nice. We're going to get a log burner. Biggest issue is, where do you put the hole? In which wall? So it's a little bit of a job, because the only logical wall is where the kiln is. Moving the kiln is a big exercise. But it's either leave the kiln there and get really cold and miserable, or move the kiln and have a right old reshuffle, which was always nice. I quite like that. It's like having a new room, isn't it, when you do that? And then we could have a log burner. So I said to Dave, what would be really lovely is if we got a decent one, a nice log burner, you know, like a little potbelly stove, and then the flue can go out of that wall there. And then, because we've got loads of chairs now, so of course we want to put our new chairs in the kitchen, but that means that 2 chairs are now not as needed. And so I said we could take those 2 chairs that are not as needed, and we could put them in the pottery studio, and then we could drink tea and sit in there and hang out a little bit. I thought that was a good idea. Yeah. See? So that's what we're going to do. See, if you do this, I had to touch that to make sure that you get such an illusion of you get such an illusion of dimension when you do it like that. Look, you know, I love doing this. And also, you just got to decide where your light's coming from. See? And then also make sure that your pencil's quite sharp. So if you're kissing the edge of that line art, there you go. That'll do. And then actually I need to just... So there's a big sale on at the moment on our website as well. Big sale. The autumn sale. Prices have dropped faster than the leaves. Right, there we go. That's nice. Yes. Big half price sale. And it's only on for a week, so take full advantage. And I did mention it in the blog. We can't, because we're so short-staffed at the moment. We'll try our best to make, you know, like we always do in the members sale. We'll try our best to make as we run out, but we can't guarantee that. So if you come in on Sunday evening when the sale is over and you expect the full range, I'm afraid that might not be the case. So it sounds like I'm saying go now, but I don't feel that way. You know, I don't play that card, but I do feel that I've got to kind of look after the staff a bit. And if we can't keep up, then we can't keep up at the moment. Got too much going on. We've got to concentrate on the open days. Are you coming? Hey? It's going to be good. It's going to be good. That's something I've got to get my head around this morning as well. When I'm done here, I'm going to go into work, have a meeting with Jazz. I was going to go in anyway because Janice was coming down. Be rude not to. And then I was going to have a meeting with Jazz about my workshop. So I've got this idea. It's kind of, well, it's nearly ready to be made now. That's what we've got to do is get the prototype made up so we can see whether my idea in my head actually translates. Typical. I often find that, you know, most times it does though, to be fair. Most times, you know, you design something in your head and then you do it in rough and you kind of mock it up physically, and then you have to have a bit of vision. You have to think, yeah, but if you did that with real, with the real colors and the, so I think, and all the time I'm thinking, and then of course the process, I think it would be good. We've got quite a few people coming to the workshops now because it's Linda's last one. And I'm hoping that we get a few more people coming to the open days because they do, they're very special, close to my heart. And there's nothing quite like it when you get everybody in the room, especially the Christmas, when we start singing and eating mince pies, and it just feels festive. We go to great lengths to make it feel good. So yeah, I'm hoping that we get a few more visitors. Last year, quite a few people turned up on the day, so that'd be good. There, see what I mean about the. And then the other thing, of course, is let's get this shadow going. Okay. Knowing how many people are coming, because you have to kind of, you've got to know how many loaves of bread are you buying, how many sandwiches are we making, how many lunches are going to be needed, all those things. That's why we have the tickets, so that we have a reading of how many people are coming. I mean, it's really important. This year we're going to go for a tombola, and Lisa's in charge of that, so I hope that's working. Everybody's got their own kind of jobs, like everybody's at work has got their own responsibilities. Mine is to sort out that workshop, my workshops, and Linda's, and so that's something that I'm all over. And then I do need to have a meeting with a few people at work to make sure that they're all on their hymn sheet, Tom and Jilly and Paul, and we'll do that. Be fine. Yeah, we're lucky. We're very, very lucky. We're very busy. We're very lucky. Don't get me wrong, it is really hard keeping a business, any business, I would say, going at the moment. Hence the sale. I didn't just wake up one morning and think, right, that's it. I want to give away all our things for half price. That's it. I'm feeling generous. I'm going to give away all this lovely stuff for half as much, for no reason. That isn't how it works. So yeah, there is a challenge here. There is a challenge, and I do like a challenge. Yeah, I do like a challenge, and I tell you what, I really appreciate. Dave and I and the team really appreciate your support, because I mean, where would we be without you guys, And the club members are probably, even though this isn't just for club members, this isn't a club members sale, this is for everybody. These skinny little legs. Oh dear. Quite arty, actually. The sale isn't just for club members. It's 1 week for everybody. And that said, right, it's our club members that keep us afloat. It's the club members. So if you're not a club member and you feel you maybe should be, then call Sue. 01732 868 215. She'll tell you all about it. She's the lovely lady that's in charge of all the clubs. She and Jilly between them, they kind of, they get that done. Yeah, it's a big job actually. It's a lot of work, but it's a good work. It's a healthy, wholesome work. And it's not an online digi. Somebody said to me, why don't you make all your stamps digital? It's like, why don't you go away and have a think about what you're asking me to do? I've never been interested in digital stamps until now, so why would I suddenly change my mind? It's not something that is of interest to me. We still send out envelopes with real stamps and real stencils and real beautiful brand new designs. That's what we do, you know. We're not going to have a cop out and start just doing downloads, because not everybody at the other end is, you know, able to print stuff off and has got a printer. Do you know how much the ink costs for these digi downloads? No, you know, it's not that straightforward. And also, I personally feel that it's not what the essence of craft is about, you know. I mean, good luck to those that do it, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to do it or Clarity's going to do it. No, quite the opposite. I think the more the world is going electronic and automated, the more need there will be for people to use their hands, to make things, to colour in, to stamp, to stencil, to get arty. I think there's going to be more of a move, you know, pick apples, peel apples, boil apples, mush up apples, put them in the freezer. I think there's going to be more of that hands-on organic need. It's obvious. It's poles, isn't it? Yin yang. And a lot of our customers are not of that digital age. I mean, if you're watching, then you are. But I don't know that you've got an all singing, all dancing, brilliant Hewlett-Packard printer. You know, who am I to assume? And so we provide you with all the things you need. That's surely what a craft company should do. So that was me on my orange box about digital downloads. Not interested. And yeah, no, it doesn't serve a purpose. Not for me. Not for this crafter. There. See, so we've got that lovely shading going on. Love it. And just that bit of grey, just to add that depth, makes all the difference, doesn't it? Let's make her a little bit more pronounced. So there you go. We managed to do a whole hour on YouTube. Result. Maybe we should always hang out on YouTube if it's a little bit precarious on the other one. Well, for as long as we can still use all of them, let's. But let's know that this is definitely a good option, isn't it? Right, I'll tell you what I want to see now, though, friends. Right, homework. And I'm setting homework. Oh, my goodness. Not really. But let's say, for example, we've done no colour. I didn't take any colour, just used grayscale because all the colour's in the background. But perhaps what would be nice would be to see how it looks if you added a little flash of colour. So, for example, here, it might be nice to just take one colour out of the background and then inject it into this here. So I'm going to have a little think about that and see which colour might work, you know, because it has to be the right colour. I think I found it actually, you know, and then I wonder if we just added a little flash of that colour. See, you don't need a lot, just a flash. rather than a massive, see, and you can get some shadow going with this. Which one have I used here? Can't even say it. Sanguine. Rötel sanguine. Rötel. Sanguine. There you go. Blood. Well, if your blood's this colour, you best get down to A&E. This doesn't look like blood. But there you are. You can get some lovely shading going. Should we give her a couple of little boots? Little colourful boots. There you go. Just a little flash. Not loads. And then maybe in the crown. Just where we've put a little bit of colour. Don't want to go too much on that one because it's the same colour as the background there, isn't it? Maybe a bit on the leaf. Nice. So you don't need lots. Less is more on the colour, in my humble opinion. Maybe a little bit down there. Okay. Love it, love it, love it. So do me a favour and just spend 5 minutes, like a little meditation, doing a little bit of colouring. And then when Facebook comes back to life, on Clarity Worldwide, I'd love to see all your lovely Kachinas. And thus endeth that chapter. There you go. It's 11:01. I would say that'll do. Just to repeat myself, Janice's show at 2 o'clock this afternoon is going to be moved to another day. More will be revealed. So no TV at 2 o'clock today. There's a big sale on our website, half price on all things Clarity and better. I think 20% off all things that we have to buy in. So take a look at the website, claritystamp.com. That runs until midnight Sunday. We really appreciate your support with that one. And then other than that, tomorrow, all things being well, it'll be 10 o'clock. It'll be the SHAC with lovely Louise. If the SHAC, if we've still got the same issue on Facebook, well, guess where you're going to find her? Precisely. So if this is working, YouTube, this is where we'll be. And 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock tomorrow. Okay. And then the rest of the week, I'm trying to think. I've got things going on. Friday, 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, Clarity TV. And I'm thinking by then everything will be fine again if it isn't already. So lots of love. Have a fabulous day. The sun is out. Nice. And, you know, Dave, he said, because it was tipping down yesterday, and he said, there's some welcome rain. There's some welcome rain. And I thought he's so right, you know, there's some welcome rain. The land needs rain. And now it's got it. So have a lovely day. Lots of love to you. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now. Now, how do I end the stream? There. End.